Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom and this is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. And we're going into the realms of opinion again. Had great fun the other day talking about who has the best championship strikers. So today we'll look at the centre-backs. Which club in the championship has the best centre-backs? No, you are not going to see a top 10 championship centre-backs, but we're going to look at how the clubs are stocked in that position. So we're going to go through each club, look at their centre-backs, and then we'll have a look who's got the most quality, who's got the most potential, and who's got the most quantity, because it does matter in a 46-game season with a short pre-season. Before we go on, I will say that the images you're about to see are taken from SofaScore. If they have a player slightly out of position, the wrong picture, any factual information is incorrect, please don't tell me in the comments. It's not my website. Send SofaScore a strongly worded letter. There's always someone that finds something to correct in there when it's not even my work. There's the Barnsley centre-backs. They've been playing three at the back under Gerhard Struber. Obviously, he has gone. It had been Anderson, Hellick and Solbauer. You can see in there Bambo Diaby, who's now banned for 2 years. You've got Apo Jaume as well, who he's played a few bits in midfield. But they seem fairly well stocked. Presumably they need to take someone to replace Diaby. You need, I guess, 4 or 5 decent centre-halves if you're going to go into a season planning to play 3. It all looks fine. Barnsley, they were playing the way Struber wanted them to. We had this idea of expansive European centre-halves. You can see there a Pole, a Dane and an Austrian. Solbauer, very highly regarded for his work last season. So I think possibly on the potential front, Barnsley pretty well stocked, but maybe need one more in there. Here's Birmingham. I suppose the caveat when you're talking about Birmingham is that Karanka is the manager and he will set these centre-halves up to succeed. By that, I mean Birmingham will be good without the ball and they will be protected. That's not what we're talking about though, remember. So clean sheets and things of that nature don't necessarily win you this because the team could be set up. Obviously, clean sheet is very helpful if you're a defender, but you take my point, don't you? They've been playing, it was Harley Dean and George Friend last time. Friend had been a left-back for years, obviously known to Karanka, has been brought in there as a centre-half, which means you've got Mark Roberts there in reserve. Christian Pedersen can step across there, can't he, as well? I'm sure Max Collin could do a job at centre-half. So, lots of quality, lots of potential, lots of quantity. No, not really. But they'll do a good job under Karanka because he knows how to work this league for sure. There is Blackburn. Who have they been playing? Last time out was Derek Williams and Daniel Ayala. So interesting there. Lots of people were very high on Dara Lenihan. The numbers looked very good for him last season. It looks like Mowbray's been trying to bomb out Charlie Mulgrew for a while. He went on loan last season. So again, probably a similar thing that I said about Karanka. Maybe Lenihan could be the one that someone else might take. Ayala is experienced and played a lot of championship games, but maybe there are others that, have better names on the roster. But Mowbray will have them defending well because of pattern of play around the team. Here are Bournemouth, who were rather stacked in other areas of the pitch, weren't we, when we analysed them. Mepham, Cook, and Rico last time. Steve Cook's been there forever. Mepham, obviously, big thumbs up. He'd gone out for big money after doing well at Brentford, hadn't he? I don't know too much about Diego Rico, but I saw him play in the game. What do we do? Bournemouth against Coventry, and he looked absolutely fine. I think I've seen Lloyd Kelly tucked in as a left centre-back there. They're playing Stacey and Smith as wing-backs at the moment. So they're not as stacked as they are in other areas of the pitch there, let's just say. But Mepham certainly very good. And if Kelly is classed as a centre-back in a 3, then very, very much so there. But maybe Bournemouth, their strength lies in other areas in terms of their squad being really, really stacked. There is the Brentford bottom part of their squad there. So I had to do 3 rows of it. What you really need to know is that Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock were very, very solid last year as a partnership. Very consistent in terms of getting them on the pitch, and the goals against looked decent. Dalsgaard can obviously step across from right back to play at centre back. Charlie Good has been brought in as well, hasn't he? To the point that Janvier has been loaned out. So I think Brentford have got it all there. I think they've got enough quantity, they've got enough quality, and they've got enough potential. So I'm pretty high on the Brentford centre-halves, and they know exactly how they are supposed to play under Thomas Frank, although I'm sure I'm going to get a comment to say they collapsed in the last game. Home to Preston, didn't they? But there you go. There is Bristol City, a little thinner on the ground there, but Bristol City all going very well. I believe Viner is not in that picture, is he? It was Viner, Taylor Moore, and Alfie Mawson last time. Obviously, a couple of big names in there in Thomas Callas and Nathan Baker, I suppose, as a championship player, has been around for a long, long while. Been around for a long, long time. Rolling Stones, that sounded like, didn't it? Mawson seems to have been a well-received signing. Callas, I think, is excellent. And then whoever they partner up as a 3. So quality is there. Maybe a bit more quantity. I'm sure Bristol City fans will tell me who's there in reserve. But all going very well there for the Robins. There is Cardiff, that seemed to be quite a small squad from what I looked at. Sean Morrison and Curtis Nelson has been the 2. Obviously, Morrison at championship level is a bit of an expert here, isn't he? Very, always very good numbers. I suppose the systems that the managers, or the philosophies that the managers he's played under in Warnock and Harris have worked for him, but good. And in terms of being proven championship, I mean, look elsewhere in the roster as well. So you've basically got Nelson, Morrison, and then Bamber and Flint, who have all been highly regarded, well, and promoted in Morrison and Bamber's case at this club before. So not a lot of diversity in the style of player. Warnock likes his defenders to head it and kick it, as he says in his biography, indeed, which I've read. But I think they're proven, and they'll work in the system that Harris wants to play, won't they? There is Coventry, who are playing a 3 as well, of McFadzean, Ostigard, who's on loan, and Hyam. So other than McFadzean, I guess quite unproven. So maybe some potential there. But in terms of the quality, we're going to wait and see through the season. Coventry look like quite a good side. Good pattern of play established from last season. So let's keep an eye on that. They probably wouldn't be topping any of the lists, but in terms of functioning for their team, absolutely fine. Derby, interesting one here. I saw Derby at the weekend, or the past weekend, because we had international break, and it was a very defensive looking Evans, Davies and Clark in a kind of flat back 5. I suspect in the end, and he's not even on there as well, is Bielik may well come back at centre half with Matt Clark. That would be very good for the those who like their centre halves to pass progressively. Tavarek's looked okay, although he has had a red card, hasn't he? Davis, well, very, very experienced and a decent head-it, kick-it type centre half. He'd do well at Cardiff, wouldn't he? Maybe that's doing him a little bit of a disservice. Wisdom has stepped across, and Evans, well, we've seen him used as a midfielder, but I do like the idea of Bielik and Clark, although we don't know whether Bielik's going to be a central midfielder or a centre-back going forward with Koku's 2020-21 squad. So some talented players in there, and it could be a really nice one in terms of quality, in terms of the on-the-ball ability if it was Clark and Bielik. He says, talking about a player not even pictured there. Huddersfield, well, last time out was Richard Stearman and Naby Sarr, which is a player, Stearman, who's been around for a while, but kind of helps the squads out that he's in and then doesn't so much get taken with them. Sometimes used at right back. as well. So, yeah, Naby Sarr's come up from League One and from Charlton. Obviously, he was in the Championship last season. Elphick there, is he done now at this level? Critchlow's played a few games. Schindler, well, he seems to have been there forever, doesn't he? So, I don't know. Make me a 2 out of that. But are they going to top any of my lists? No, probably not. And you have to factor in as well, can they do what Corberon is going to ask them this season? I guess he thinks Sarr can because he's signed him. The others we'll see. But he seems quite high on Critchlow, doesn't he? So, yeah, let's see on Huddersfield. I'll give a watching brief on that one. That looks like Luton. It's been an interesting one, Luton, because it was Bradley and Pearson to start last season, wasn't it? And then, like, Martin Craney dropped in from time to time or played in the deep midfield position and kind of got between the two of them. Conceded tons of goals under Graham Jones. Carter Vickers came in. And by the end of the season, it wasn't Pearson and Bradley. They brought in Lockyer from Charlton, who you can see at the top of the picture there. But they seem to have gone back to Pearson and Bradley. So it's certainly a staid partnership. I had the idea last year, though, that they decided that the quality wasn't enough, hence why Carter Vickers came in there. But maybe the sum of the parts there has brought them back together. So we'll keep our eye on that at Luton. But it seems to be Pearson and Bradley have played their way back together there. Borough, I was worried about a couple of weeks ago. I did their first game and it was Grant Hall, it was Jykesteel and Paddy McNair, who's not in that picture. Last time out was McNair, Dale Fry was in, and Jykesteel as well. So I would think Fry, Hall, and whether they see Jykesteel as a centre-back now rather than a attacking wing-back, I don't know. But they do seem a little bit understocked there. I'm guessing Wood Gordon is a youngster. Howson's, he's a midfielder, for goodness sake. Bowler's a fullback, isn't he? So maybe they could do with another body in there. But if he's sticking with a 3, Warnock, the chances are they're going to be playing someone out of position. So maybe the quantity isn't quite there. That is Millwall. And that's been a very consistent 3 end of last season and start of this season for Rowett, hasn't it? Jake Cooper at this level, very good. Don't expect him to go to a team that plays out from the back. That's not his game. But in a Millwall team where he defends and absolute nuisance from attacking set plays and things, absolute don there, isn't he? So Cooper, Hutchison, who was it in the last game? Pearce. Murray Wallace is an option there as well. I suppose you could tuck Scott Malone in on the left-hand side. So from a first-team point of view, yes, enough there. In terms of what they're asked to do, yes, enough there. And enough quality for Rowett, who can be a reactive, pragmatic manager sometimes. I think they've got enough there, and Hutchison certainly did very good numbers last season, didn't he? Was well regarded. Norwich, well, they've just sold Godfrey and they've just loaned Tim Closer out. So this looks a lot more focused in terms of the actual numbers in there. I suspect it'll be Zimmerman and Gibson, which is well balanced in terms of actually having a left footer in there with Hanley as the backup. They're similar-ish, aren't they? Big, sort of powerful players. And Farker, maybe would he have preferred the feet of a Godfrey in there? That's what he went up with last time, Godfrey and Zimmerman. So it's not that much different. In terms of actual quality, it's very, very good. Not much quantity there. And, I mean, the potential is to be a top championship centre-half partnership, but obviously that back 4, when you talked about potential, when it was Aarons, Lewis, Godfrey, all in there as once, well, 2 of them have been sold now. So pretty high on the quality, but quantity and potential, and Hanley's never really had any kind of a run since he signed for Norwich, hasn't he, as a centre-half. Oh my God. So here is Nottingham Forest with their massively bloated squad now under Chris Hughton, who is a good defensive manager, I have to say. But God, look there. Hefele, Blackett, Dawson, Christian Derrick are fullbacks, Bong, Worrell, Figueiredo, So, and Scott McKenna there as well. Again, please don't cry. It says midfielder there. He's obviously not. I don't know what the plan is there. How can we know? There's been a load of players come in. There's been a load of players go out. The manager's changed. We haven't seen the new manager play. Last couple of games, last game was Tyler Blackett at centre-back and Loic Mbe So. The Frenchman has come in for a lot of money, so I suspect he'll play. Joe Worrell is highly rated there, isn't he? McKenna's come in for a lot of money. So in terms of quantity, massive. In terms of quality, there's probably enough there, but we don't know. So we also don't really know what the potential is. But maybe a Worrell and So partnership, although we don't tend to see two young centre-halves play together, do we, that often? There's normally at least one long in the tooth experienced one in there. But yeah, definitely the means there. Just what is Hughton going to do with it? Preston I like, actually. It was Davies and Bauer, and that's strong, isn't it? And Davies has always been spoken about as a possible, the next big sale at Preston. And Bauer came up from Charlton. He was the captain, wasn't he? And straight in and playing every single week. In terms of backup, I guess not overly familiar there. I think, Earl I know was a left back and did a bit of centre back on loan at Ipswich. Fisher's a full back, isn't he? But hey, Alex Neil likes to rotate people all around the pitch, doesn't he? And play Alan Brown at right back. So I'm sure there's plenty enough options there. But a decent quality first choice pair there. I think that is QPR, isn't it? So it's Barbe and Dickey. So there's quite a lot of potential there, isn't there? In respects of Barbe coming in as a ball player, had been at Brentford, and Dickey up from Oxford. So hey, we'll see how it goes. I think that's potentially decent. They've got Connor Masterson, who's a youngster in there as well. So they're lacking the experience, but I suppose there's people like Jeff Cameron around, and it all suits what Warburton wants to do anyway, doesn't it? So maybe its potential we're highest on there rather than the other factors we've been talking about. Reading, Liam Moore and Michael Morrison feels like a very stable, experienced Championship 2 with Lewis Gibson in reserve behind the both of them. They've just added Estevez, the right back there, you can see. I know we're not talking about that. But it does kind of pertain to the fact that Paunovic seems to want to restart the goal kicks with the centre-halves in really, really short. So let's see how Moore and Morrison go. Are they good enough in the Championship? Yes, just depends. Can they do what they're going to be asked to do? Or will one of them cede to Everton Academy sort of product there, who you may assume might be a little bit better on the ball? We'll find out. But as with Bristol City, everything going terribly well at Reading, so let's not question anything at the moment. There is Rotherham, who went last time with Angus MacDonald and Michael Ehekwa. Now, Ehekwa is highly rated, so there's definitely quality there. Obviously, for someone like Angus MacDonald, he'd come from Hull, who were lower down last season. You got people like Richard Wood in there, who's been around forever. Curtis Tilt, who's kind of unproven as well. So I think if you're building it around Ehekwa, there's plenty enough there. And if he sticks with Ehekwa and MacDonald, then the potential is there to be decent enough. Let's just hope they can stay more than one season to get that game time in the Championship and build that partnership. Sheffield Wednesday, well, that was a 3 last time. Van Aken, Lees and Shaw. I'm sure, excuse the pun, Gary Monk would prefer to be playing. I think Dominic Iorfa's well regarded there and has been used as a centre-back, even though he's got form as a right-back as well. And I'm sure Gary Monk would like to use Che Dunkley, who was great for Wigan last season. Julian Berners there as well. So I don't know what it's going to end up end up being going forward. I'm sure Wednesday fans will comment. There's probably injuries, there at the moment. Is there enough quality? I don't think they're going to be top of any of the lists, but good enough for the Championship? Well, sure, all of these players have done it before now at this level. So, let's see on Wednesday. There is Stoke, and we had Stoke as one of the most well-stocked for strikers. Well, I think they're just the most well-stocked for everything. So there's, who did they play last game? Fox, Suter and Chester. Obviously, Lindsay came in from Barnsley, wasn't it, last season? Shawcross has been around forever. Danny Bart, highly regarded at this level. Suter, who we've mentioned. James Chester, who'd been a decent player for Aston Villa up until injuries and things getting in the way. So, quality fairly even. Maybe the idea that a couple of those players are... Morgan Fox as well, I should have mentioned, can play left centre-back, can't he? I think maybe more used as a full-back at Sheffield Wednesday. So, yeah, are any of these players at their height of their power? Maybe some of them not. But a couple with potential to go forward and improve. And definitely quantity-wise there, as we said with Stoke, very decent. Right, I really like this one, as watchers of the channel know. So we've had Guay, Cabango and Rodden, which is a really fun, sort of young, talented, highly rated group of three centre halves there. Really like that a lot. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is how much longer does Rodden stay, because there seems some solid interest from the Premier League there. We've seen Kyle Norton tuck across. I'm sure Jake Bidwell could as well. So they're a bit thin on the ground if they don't keep Rodden, but really high on quality and really high on potential as well with those three. Like that a lot. Watford, it was Cathcart, Kabasele and Wilmot last time. Wilmot, well, that takes us back to Swansea last season where he was on loan. Cathcart scored in the opening game of the season. Kabasele has played. I'm interested in William Troost Ekong there, who's one of many to come in from Udinese. He's highly rated, isn't he? Lots of Nigerian caps there. So perhaps he ends up with Wilmot and Cathcart. We will see. That looks very much good enough. And as with most of Watford's squad, plenty of numbers, plenty of quality. It's just focusing it up now, isn't it, I think, for the Hornets. And that leaves us with Wycombe, where it looks like the plan is to stick with Anthony Stewart and Darius Charles. Tafazoli's played a couple of games when... Who got suspended? Charles? One of them got suspended. I think it was Charles, wasn't it? So, yes, there seems to be a solid partnership there. Have they got the quality? We'll find out. Potential? Not sure, but good luck to them. And it looks like they've got two there as a pair and one first reserve in Tafazoli. Let me know if you think differently. So, let's think about comments now. Please get in the comments and I'll tell you what my view is before you do that. So, in terms of quality, Norwich maybe, Preston maybe, but I think I'd say for a pair going out on the pitch, probably Janssen and Pinnock. I like, and they're both kind of hybrids, aren't they? Because they're both big and powerful, but given that pattern of play, they've both been good using the ball, and you've got the balance with the left-sided and right-sided players there. So maybe I'd go Brentford on quality. Potential, well, QPR could be fun with Dickey and Barbe. Barnsley, can these Europeans step up to it with Solbauer, Hellick and Anderson? But surely potential's got to be Swansea, hasn't it? With Guehi, Rodden and Cabango. That looks a lot of fun. Can they keep Rodden? And in terms of quantity, well, there's Stoke, but Forest surely have the best in terms of quantity of centre-backs. They've got about 6 of them that all have an argument to play first team. So let's see how Chris Hughton sorts that out. So please get involved in the comments. Why don't you comment on who you think wins on quality, potential and quantity? Also, to avoid silly biased comments that we often get where people not only do they only talk about their team, but they only say good things about their team. So score your team out of 10. Be realistic. Give me some reason if you want. And please enter into the spirit of this. Who would you swap? And listen to this bit. If you had to, yeah? Because there's always one that puts, I wouldn't swap our centre-halves for anyone. Well, I didn't ask that, did I? I'm asking if you had to swap, I'm trying to get football fans to actually pay attention to other teams other than their own. We'll get there one day, and a lot of people on this channel do. But who would you swap if you had to? So that is my outlook on Championship centre-backs. I think Brentford probably on quality, Swansea on potential, and Forest on quantity would be topping my list. Get your thoughts into the comments. We are making our way through the international break. We're nearly there. I'll be live for the England game tomorrow night, and then it'll be Thursday and the Championship will be back, and we'll be back with the preview. So all the normal plugs, you can get this over on the podcast feed. Please like, subscribe, get involved in the comments. Please give me your views. But guys, I don't just want to hear your views on your own team. I want to hear you talk about the other teams as well, if you feel confident doing that. Patreon, subscribe over there on Patreon, amazon.co.uk/shop/The Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. And for anyone interested in sponsorship, it is benjaminbloommusic@gmail.com. Get involved. That is my look at which Championship club has the best centre-backs. Thank you for watching. Over and out.